Hello everyone and welcome back to another video brought to you by SeniorCatWellness.com. In today's material, we'll spend just a few minutes discussing the topic of walking your cat on a leash, more specifically walking your indoor cat outdoors. Although it has become a bit more common in recent years, the concept of a cat being walked is still a bit strange for some, not only when it comes to the concept but also the visual. However, walking an indoor cat in the great outdoors can be very wise and quite effective in some instances, especially if your cat's indoor living space is not really conducive for a lot of running around and general recreation. Before we take a closer look at this somewhat unique yet seemingly fast-growing concept, let's first explore today's topic overview. Walking an indoor cat outside enables them to be active in a controlled way. It also has cognitive benefits, as it encourages cats to use their brains differently. However, walking your indoor cat outside exposes them to fleas, pesticides, and diseases. If your cat gets loose from its leash, it could get stolen or run over. As mentioned during the latter half of our overview, protection from the great outdoors and a firm grip on the leash are both very critical for the most obvious of reasons. However, proper vaccinations and regular flea treatments can eliminate most of the former, and a quality leash and harness can help you immensely with the latter. So what remains is the all-important training. Let's be honest, it can be a bit difficult to teach a dog how to properly walk on a leash, and with the independent walk to the beat of my own drum mind of a cat, the training aspect will likely be the most demanding part of the entire process. But don't you worry, we'll talk all about the training aspect here momentarily. The cat walking Olympics in 4 years? Be ready. Before we take a walk into today's first video subsection, a quick shout out to the best viewers on the feline wing of the internet, the amazing viewers of Senior Cat Wellness. Thank you so much for all of your love and support. Whether this is your first video or you've been here for years, hello and welcome. If you enjoyed today's presentation and find it informative, please feel free to subscribe to this channel, like the video, and share the content. It is our mission to serve the feline community and do it with a kind heart and a smile. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to join us, and we do hope to see you again in future content. Now, Cats on a Leash, and no, that's not the name of a new TV show. Should you walk your indoor cat outdoors? Let's answer it. As we mentioned in our intro, walking an indoor cat outside can have quite an upside. In some cases, if your cat just doesn't have enough room to roam and play and is potentially in need of some weight reduction, a walk outside a few times a week can do wonders. As long as your pet is up to date with respect to vaccinations and receives regular flea treatments, this can open up a brand new world for your pet. In addition to physical stimulation, the great outdoors is also good for mental and emotional health. Cats can get quite bored and stressed within a home environment, especially if that environment, while safe, is a bit stagnant, let's just say. If your pet is merely existing within your home, something more could be needed to get that motor running. Just a short walk around your own property can be a game changer. In terms of the literal act of walking a feline, this is certainly a camp divided. While many will praise the idea for the reasons that we've mentioned, others will point to the fact that walking a cat is a bit unnatural, and it goes against feline tendencies, since the control factor has been removed. After all, cats are independent movers and shakers by nature. Ultimately, it's a personal choice. Weigh the pros and cons, and if walking will be beneficial to your feline. At a glance, the positives are quite clear. A way for your cat to get outside while still being relatively safe, as you don't have to worry about your cat running away, being hit by a car, or simply being a bit of a contrarian and refusing to come home within a respectable hour. All of these can happen if your cat is allowed to roam free in the most absolute literal sense. With a leash, you're giving your cat some exposure to the outdoors while maintaining that control, which is important for you and your role as an owner. Is the act of walking a bit cruel? Let's take a look at that perspective. While some would probably say yes, and this could all induce some level of great anxiety for your cat. Here again, so much depends on how your pet trusts you, how much they trust you, how great is the bond, and all the personalities involved. Your cat's personality, your personality, perhaps other family members within your home. This is certainly not a black and white issue, and it's certainly not a one size fits all issue. You could probably put 10 different cats on 10 different leashes and have about 10 different results. In terms of an age minimum, it's best to wait until your cat is fully vaccinated and big enough to fit in a harness and have a leash fully secured. It's also best to wait until they've mentally and emotionally secured in themselves and have a strong bond with you. Kittens are often a bit skittish about most everything simply because everything they see and experience is new. Allow your cat to have a bit of life under its belt before you walk your pet outside. In terms of duration, this all depends on what your cat will tolerate, which brings us to an important point. Never force this action upon your cat. If your cat wants to go back inside, allow it. If your cat doesn't want to walk, don't force it. Allow your cat to be the guide. Ideally, the goal is to have your cat walk free with the leash, simply serving as somewhat of a security blanket. While there are often misconceptions that cats will simply not be trained in this fashion or be trained at all in, in just about anything, most anything can be accomplished with a little patience and consistency. While leash training won't be a quick effort, it can be a lot of fun if you take things slow and steady. Step one, get your cat used to the harness before you place your cat on a leash. Your pet first needs to get used to the actual harness and wear it a while, several times a day, several times a week. Allow your cat to adorn the harness so that your pet can get comfortable with its feel. It's very critical that your cat doesn't fear any of the necessary equipment needed to make outdoor adventures possible. Next up, step number two, get your cat used to the leash and do so indoors. Attachment of the leash. Once your cat is comfortable with the harness and has displayed no signs of distress, you can attach the leash without tension, and that's key. We'll address that here momentarily. And begin to put the activity of walking into practice within your home. Use the home as a testing ground. Take some laps, if you will, around the interior of your home with your pet on the leash. Also, practice removing the leash and reapplying. Continue to do this once a day or more if possible until your pet is comfortable with sort of being led around, if you will, in this fashion. Step number three, add that tension that we talked about. Tension to the leash. Having your cat on the leash is one thing, but adding that tension, that's a whole brand new world, and it's quite another animal, if you will, altogether. In order for this process to work, you must mimic all potential scenarios, and resistance is one. And then your cat will inevitably get a bit ahead of its skis and ahead of you from time to time. So allow your cat to feel the sensation of just a little bit of tension, and what happens to them if they walk a bit too far ahead of you. Give your cat, give your feline a little bit of time to process what's going on and process this information and that feel of tension. And step number four, walk your cat indoors. This is the whole shebang. It's about putting all the pieces into practice at once: the harness, the leash, the walking, and that all-important walking with a bit of tension. Attempt to simulate all situations that your pet could potentially encounter when outside, and if everything comes together quite nicely, reward your pet with a treat. And as a little FYI, you can use a treat reward with each step if you'd like. Nothing like a bit of positive reinforcement for a job well done. And you guessed it, step five, we are in the gold medal game. It's time to perform. Take your cat outside. Your feline, well, they're ready for the big time. On a leash in the great outdoors. Attach the harness and the leash. Get a good grip. That's important for you. And open that door. Make sure you do your best to do all of this in ideal, sort of positive weather conditions. You want to minimize as many external factors as possible. Extreme cold, extreme heat, rainy and damp conditions. Yeah, all of those can make that first adventure a bit sour. Walk a slow, deliberate pace. Attempt to set the pace at first, then allow your cat to walk free a bit. Add just a bit of tension at the right times where your cat is able to still recognize that you are in control. The core objective is to give your cat some level of guided freedom and only apply that tension when absolutely necessary. While any breed can be successfully trained to walk with a leash, some breeds are a bit happier to oblige than others. We'll talk about it here. If your indoor feline is one of the following breeds, there's a chance that your journey along the road of positive training could potentially be a bit easier. Let's start with the ragdoll breed. It often takes right to the leash because they naturally love to walk and follow their owners. This means they're a bit more willing to engage in this activity because they naturally love to be around their favorite people. And next up is the Abyssinian, one of the easiest to train. They're adventurous and open up to new opportunities. The open mind, if you will. They're quite adaptable. On the downside, Abyssinians are very athletic, so be sure you have that good grip that we just mentioned in case your cat attempts to bolt and somewhat catch you off guard. Next up, the Bengal. Bengals are also what we would like to refer to as easy walkers. They need plenty of exercise, which can make a leash quite useful. They're athletic and extremely predatory, so some level of controlled stalking in the great outdoors is quite beneficial. Next up is the Savannah. Similar in many ways to dogs because of their core traits, the Savannah is full of energy and quite intelligent. Quick to learn new things, leash training should be fairly easy. The Savannah breed is also quite loyal, so they'll stay by your side during walks, even though they could be just a bit shy and potentially a bit anxious. Next up, we have the Burmese. With the ability to form tight bonds with their owners, the Burmese can be trained with a nice mix of energy and curiosity. Outdoor walks will be much needed in order to scratch that figurative itch. Taking your indoor Burmese outdoors can help keep the body active and the mind sharp. And finally, the Maine Coon. They love the leash life, and they can enjoy the leash quite a bit. Although a bit larger than other breeds, the Maine Coon is very gentle and attention seeking. They'll likely walk alongside you during their leash adventures. While they don't really love the great outdoors all that much, they will enjoy the exercise. Be mindful of the dirt and debris factor. If you own a Maine Coon, you certainly know all too well about that fluffy coat. Be sure to brush it after each and every walk. While the final choice to engage in this activity is certainly up to you and in your hands, literally and figuratively, the concept of walking a cat on a leash has certainly gained a lot of traction in recent years. And if the environment is right from a safety standpoint and the area is large enough for your cat to enjoy its time outside and get much needed exercise and enrichment, then consider purchasing a secure harness and a leash for your pet. And on that note, that will wrap things up for the video portion of today's content. However, if you'd like more information regarding this topic of leash training, leash walking, and if this could be a positive measure for you to take with your indoor cat, please be sure to visit us at seniorcatwellness.com at the conclusion of today's presentation. There you will find a written piece dedicated to everything we've talked about here today and so much more. Please click that initial link in the description box below for more information. And once again, if you enjoyed what we brought to the table here today and would like to see and hear more, please like and share and subscribe and all that good stuff to the SeniorCatWellness.com official YouTube channel. It would be greatly appreciated. And until our paths cross again, and I certainly hope they do, we'd like to thank you once again for joining us today. Please have a wonderful day. All the best to you and yours, and we will talk to you later.